Hi, I'm Mark. Welcome back to Foothill Paint Fabrication. Well, this is still in my way, so we can't get to work on the chassis, but we can get to work on these fenders. So I've got them pretty well braced up here. They're nice and solid, so we're going to go ahead and do some preliminary filling before we start blocking everything out. So I've got a lot of little pieces of tape on here, so let's check out the little dingers and all the stuff we need to do, and then we'll jump in and get some filling done today. Okay, let's start on the passenger side fender. So we had that patch panel right here where that tree limb had hit it and kinked this whole area, went all around the corner. We've got antenna hole that we filled in. We've got some spots down here. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's pretty, not so smooth right there. We're going to stay away from, a little bit away. We're not going to try to make this area perfect because that's going to come later. And then we've got some small dings. Had the spot right here where the tree limb hit as well, where we try to work out that body line, and just some kind of not so smooth areas. Had a big, I can't believe I missed this, but that big old kink right there in the lip. Now this line runs all the way around nice and smooth in this one, so we're just going to fill that, but I can't believe I didn't try to tap that out. And then of course we put the bracing in right here, because that was cracked all through here, so we're going to fill down inside there. A little spot right there that needs some work, but just a lot of little stuff really. So let's move over to the driver's side and check that one out. So you guys recall we welded this in right here, that seam, so I don't know if I'm going to do that right now or if I'll wait when we fill in all the other stuff we did to beautify the inside of that. Probably do that at the same time up on the rack. But we've got a few things to do over here, that's for sure. So we had that patch panel down here and all those slide hammer marks that were in this area that we worked out. And it's not as smooth as I'd like. So the molding covers a lot of this, but we're still going to work that area. We're going to kind of lightly block a lot of this just to expose it to see if we need to fill or tap down or anything, and then we'll get to work. And a lot of these little tape marks are just little tiny dingers, just little ones that don't really matter that much. So, but I want to pre-fill them before, so then when we block out, they're kind of already filled and ready to go. And we got a similar thing over here where we had that crack. So let's go ahead and get some sandpaper and just peel these the pieces of tape off, kind of block that area and see how big it is. Then we'll scuff each one, and then get some filler out and get to fill in all these little spots. All right, I got a really short block here, and I'm not trying to make this thing perfect. I'm just trying to expose these spots to kind of pre-fill them. So I've got a fresh piece of 100 grit on here, and we're just going to kind of go along. I don't know if you guys can see that little dinger right there, so I'm going to peel the tape out of the way, and we're just going to block this a little bit. Just to kind of see how big it is. I don't want to go through the epoxy if I can help it, because I really want some epoxy between the body filler and the bare sheet metal. So that one, I don't know if you guys can see it, but it was a little tiny dinger, but you can tell how big it is. That's probably a 50-cent piece size. So I'm going to go through, and I can see a little one right there. There's another one that's probably a quarter size. Got a little one right here. The good thing about this epoxy that I've been using, it's pretty shiny. It's almost a semi-gloss, whereas some epoxies are very dull. So it allows me to see these low spots and these little dents and stuff. That one's right on the body line right there, but it doesn't look like it affected the body line. It was a nice little shot. Looks like a BB or pellet mark, and that could be from me shooting at squirrels, having them go wild. So we can see that there's just some small ones right here, but the epoxy certainly isn't going to take these out. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of the little ones, and we're going to go down to this patch panel. I got a bad feeling about that, but let me get the rest of these little tiny ones, and then we'll go down there, get some light on it, and see how well we did. All right, the repair area was about like this. Patch panel came in here and all the way down. So let's see how we did. hoping I got the shape right. I just didn't get it smooth. We can already see the kind of the cottage cheese looking area right here. It's already flat right there and a dip right there, but all in all, not as bad as I was thinking it would be. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. Definitely need some filling here, up in here, all throughout here, really low right here, and a little low spot here and there. But basically, I think we'll just skim coat this whole thing and block it out and take what we get. So this body line right here definitely drops in right where my patch was. That's where that brace was. I couldn't hammer and dolly that out as well as I'd like. But all in all, it's not as bad as I thought. Let me go ahead and grab the camera. We'll look at all the spots we need to do, and then we'll start scuffing all these spots that didn't get sanded and float all these. All right, so patch panel area, not too bad. We're gonna float this whole area and block it, maybe even all the way out to here, because that's where that other limb hit it. Then we've got these little tiny ones like this. These are super easy. Had some going on here. Down on this side of the passenger side. I don't know if you guys remember what this looked like. We messed with it quite a bit, and it's got good shape. What I always preach to you guys, get the shape in there and let the body filler smooth it for you. This is a classic example. None of this body filler is going to be very thick, but it's going to help smooth that out. If we have some steel come through from high spots, we'll just tap those down later. So it's the kind of thing that where I always tell you guys, you know, take the dent out, take the biggest part out. Well, that's what we're kind of doing that still, where these dents have been removed, but now we're going to kind of pre-fill them and then block the whole thing. So you can see down over here too, remember we made that little custom dent pulling tool, but we didn't get that out all the way. So body filler is going to help us right here. Here's all the spot weld marks, and we got a little low spot right there. On the other side, up here, we've just got all these little, you know, these little dingers, right? And this is 19 gauge. You put your elbow down on that while you're reaching in there to work on the carburetor. It will put a dent in it. We've got a big one right here. I happen to know for sure that's from me missing a squirrel. I don't know. That pellet gun shot wild a lot. It wasn't all on me. And then this is just another kind of a bad area. We're going to float this whole thing. And then we've got a couple of spots over here. And then right over here we have where we did some work over there too. So not terrible. You know, it's not going to be super thick. It's just going to be, you know, pretty thin all in all. And then, of course, the thickest part will be right there where that body line is a little too low. But it's not going to take a lot of body filler. It's going to take a little bit of work in advance. And then once we get all these done, then we can block these fenders out. And I'm sure other stuff is going to show up. But I just want to get the big stuff filled. And hopefully the epoxy will handle the rest. All right, I got everything else scuffed up with some 80 grit. Now, what I like to do is take the 150 scuff pad and just kind of scuff it, because sometimes you can't get down inside some of these nooks and crannies with your thumb or whatever to scuff it before you put body filler on. So I just use a scuff pad. You can do it by hand, or I'll just use a drill. Kind of turn it on its edge. And it gets down inside all those little spots, even down inside those weld seams. Then I'll just follow it up with the 80 grit. I always like to go farther, because you know how it is when you're spreading. Before you know it, you're up here, then you're way over here. So I go a little bit farther, just in case, even though it'll probably be all sanded off, we want to make sure it's got a good scuff on it. Now this edge rolls off quite a bit. I'm not going to worry about this kind of stuff. We're just going to do some pre-work here. Obviously, once we get the body back on the chassis and all this is lined up perfect, we might bump that out or work on it. So, but for right now, we're just trying to get most of these big areas covered. All right, let me blow these off real good, get the tack rag over here. I've been tacking off all my stuff before I put body filler on it. You'd be surprised, no matter how good you blow it off, that tack rag always lifts some more dust off. So you certainly don't want dust in between your body filler and the substrate. So let me take care of that real quick, and we'll get some body filler mixed up and start covering some of these. Pretty cold today, so the work time, I should have plenty of time to move this stuff around. All right, I'm gonna leave it alone. Clean this board up, come back and get to sanding. All right, we're all set up, feeling pretty good. I got some fresh 60 grit on the shorter block here to do these small ones and work some of this. So let's see how it turned out. So right off the bat, I may need to add some more. It may have pulled down a little bit farther away because it's not coming out, but let's keep sanding. Yeah, it came out really nice. So we're gonna stop right there. We're just using 60 grit, so I don't wanna, gouge it more than I have to once I got it close. We'll hit it with some finer stuff later, so when we put more primer on it, it's not trying to fill super thick scratches. This one I'm trying to follow the body line because it rolls down, then it basically flattens out to the plane of the hood. So it's actually flat right along this edge, and then it rolls up. That came out real nice. I'll use some fine sandpaper to clean this body filler that got on the edge. So I'm going to go through and do these. I'll bring you back when we're doing the big one down here at the corner. But these are all come together really nice, so it's looking really good. All right, that went pretty well, but we have to do some more refilling. You'll see a spot like this right here. You can see it's not even touching here. When you see these really clean lines, you know it's too low. You can just stop. I'm already got a little bit of steel showing right through there. Most of these others came out really nice. We're going to looking pretty good. This one needs some more filling up here on top, but that looks good. So pretty happy to get most of these little ones. I found another one right there. We're going to get that a little bit once we second coat these others, but let's get this set up down here and see how we did. All right, yeah, we did. All right, it's looking pretty good. I knew this whole area was going to be low, so we're touching over here. This needs a little, this kind of rolls in and back out, so the block is going to skip over it, but I do think we need some more filling right there. Let's work the bottom, see how that looks. You remember that patch panel came up and it was pretty low right there. All right, it's not looking too bad. We're looking pretty good over here, but obviously this area here is still too low. We're hitting over here and we've got a low spot there. So that's just another area that's gonna, we'll scuff it out here and then get some more filling on all these locations and sand them again. Okay, just touch up a few of these spots here. All right, I've been working the passenger side the same time as the driver's side, so they're both at the same place. Finished sanding all the stuff we just put on, so we're looking good. That area got bigger, that area needed more, but we're looking really good all the way around. So let's go ahead and get some fresh 80 grit on some of these blocks and go ahead and just start blocking these things out and see where we land. Okay, I already had some 60 grit on this long Dura block, so I'm just going to go ahead and block it out lightly with that, not push down at all. That's the key, and we'll kind of see where we stand once we kind of rough it out with this. All right, let's take a look at it. Now I used the long block, so there's a lot of areas like, you know, around these corners and stuff that didn't get sanded. But you can see a little dinger right there. It's just starting to sand right there. No steel showing up. So we got a little shiny spot right there. And then back here, we can see we've got a low spot here and here. And then we've got a little low spot along there. Other than that, it looks pretty good. Then we get back over on the side here. And this is just starting to touch by sanding. So I may just try to sand that out. But this area here does not look good. It's not touching at all, just starting to touch here. So, and that's the game really, is, you know, do I try to fill it or do I just block it out and then scuff it all, put another couple of coats of primer on and then block it out again? That's your choice. Now this epoxy primer, like I said before, I'm using all the way to the surface, right underneath the base coat. So I'm using it as a filler as well instead of a urethane or something like that. So I'm kind of in the middle here what I should do. I think I need to fill these areas right here, and some of these other areas are going to be fine. Get some more epoxy on it, block it out again, and see where we're at. Since we're doing just like preliminary blocking right now, I think that's going to be the game plan. I'm going to get this filled. I'm going to block the other one out, so I mix up some body filler and do both sides if it needs it, and then we'll just go forward from there. Okay, I got everything filled and sanded. I'm going to do on this round, we're going to just concentrate on getting some epoxy to take some of this other stuff out. So you can see a little spot right there that didn't really get sanded, just a little bit right there, just barely getting touched. But down here it came out pretty good. Got most of that filled around the fender well, got a little low spot right there. I think epoxy will take that out. And we've got this little spot right here. Interestingly, on the other side, it's got the exact same spot, so that must be part of the stamp. But this fender was definitely in better shape than the driver's side. And the driver's side looks pretty good. We got a lot of little stuff done, and then some stuff kept getting bigger and bigger. I didn't realize it was as bad as it was. We got all this down here. This area, it did take a little bit more filler than I thought it was going to, and some of those dingers, we got those out. That was no problem. This area right here was a little bit of a mess, so hopefully it'll look good once we get some more epoxy on it. And this turned out to be a fair amount bigger than I thought it was going to be. It was just a little low spot, but once we got it all sanded up, it was a little bit bigger. So everything else is looking pretty good, and like I said, I'm going to worry about the door edge, door connection later, but we will block that out once the door is out of the way. But down here we've got a little bit going on. That's where the patch panel was, and you can see my weld right there. The molding covers all that, so I don't know if I'm going to fill that or what I'm going to do, but I'll wait till I get the fender off the car when we do the inside, where we did all that welding to weld in all those triangles and all that other stuff and weld that seam. So I think that's what's next for these fenders, but we're getting close to spraying some more epoxy. The car needs more epoxy, the trunk lid needs some, and these fenders need some. And that firewall, I started on that and it is frustrating. But now that the rotisserie is out of the way, I can get in there and work a little bit better. I still have a lot of hand work to do before I get any epoxy on that GTO embossed area. But we are looking pretty good. We're making progress. And as soon as I'm done editing this video, I'm going to get to work on the Impala. All right, guys, that pretty much wraps up this video on the initial blocking and filling of the front fenders. Now, I think they came out pretty good. Obviously, the first step was patch panels and sheet metal work, and I'm not the greatest at it, but I'm pretty happy with my work. Nothing shot out as soon as we started blocking. That's when you know you're in trouble. You go like this a couple times and steel pops right through. You know you didn't do it very well, but I think I did pretty good. Not great at it, but I did better than I have in the past, so I'm getting better and better all the time. So they really did come out pretty good. Obviously, there's more body filler on here than I'd like, but you know, that's life. We're going to let the body filler help smooth it out for us. But getting a couple more coats of epoxy on here will really show us how we did. And we still have to do the inside, and we'll get to that soon. But really, I'm pretty happy. Now, it's been cold here, and I really appreciate you guys' comments and everything. You're encouraging me. You know, it's 45 degrees today, the sun's out, and it's just, you know, it's hard to get anything done. I mean, it doesn't look like I've done much done, but there's a lot of body filler dust on the ground, so I know I'm getting something done. But it's, you know, the body filler takes longer to set. It's just hard to stay motivated, hard to get out here and get to work, but I'm going to keep plugging through and keep moving forward. Springtime will be here soon, and I want everything, you know, a lot more farther along than it is before I jump on that chassis. But I'm really happy with the progress so far, and really looking forward to getting some more epoxy sprayed. Thanks for joining me here at Foothill Paint Fabrication. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Mash that bell and drop me a comment. It's always great to hear from you guys. We'll see you on the next one.